this session on introduction on brain computer interface. In this session we will learn about basics and fundamentals of brain computer interface. You may remember from Mahabharata, in which when the Pandavas, they were in exile and they were feeling thirsty, they were searching for water and they had reached a pond, and he asked them some questions which they were required to answer, and if the answer is right they could take the water, otherwise they could not take the water. So all the four brothers, younger brothers, they first tried, could not answer the question, and when finally you reached there, when searching that why my other brothers, they have not returned with water, so he was searching for them, and then he reached the same pond, and then he found that all his brothers, they were lying unconscious near the pond, and he was asking that what happened, and then the Yaksh, it emerged from there and told him that I asked your brothers that I will ask the question, if you can answer it correctly you can take the water, but they didn't listen to me, and that's why they are unconscious now. So if you want the water, then you need to answer some of my questions. So the Yudhishthir said that okay, let me try. So the Yaksh asked that what is heavier than earth, higher than heavens, faster than the wind, and more numerous than straws. So here the important point is the one of the question is that what is that which is faster than the wind, and as you know the answer was that mind, which we in Hindi say man ki gati. So that was the answer, and finally the Yaksh was happy that he could answer the question and allowed them to take the water. We all who have healthy motor functions may take for granted the complicated biological, chemical and electrical processes that occur within their body in order for them to easily communicate and interact with the outside world. Although the processes are complex, healthy individuals are able to complete them without much thought or effort. However, when certain neuron pathways are severed or degeneration brought on by an injury or a disease occurs, what once were simple tasks may become impossible or very cumbersome to complete. During the last decades, a new capability has emerged by which the human brain can directly communicate with the environment, called a brain computer interface, brain machine interface, direct neural interface, or mind machine interface. So this gives rise to the branch study of brain computer interface. Let us see how we can define it. Brain computer interface can be defined as a communication system in which messages or commands that an individual sends to the external world do not pass through the brain's normal output pathways of peripheral nerves and muscles. This is brain computer interfaces offers a way of bypassing a typical nerve pathways by providing novel output pathways in order to interact with a variety of applications that replace, improve, enhance, restore or supplement the human user's central nervous system output. This especially is important for individuals with compromised neural tracts. For example, There are nearly 2 million people in the United States alone and many more worldwide, including in India, who suffer from severe motor disabilities. Moreover, nearly 5 lakh people suffer from locked in syndrome worldwide. Through research into brain computer interfacing, technology is still in early phases on these benefits. Many significant developments have been made. Let's have a look at BCI applications. The BCI applications, they have enabled the individuals, in particular those with severe motor impairments, but cognitively intact, to do some of the following activities, like to write sentences, control an unmanned aerial vehicle, control and prosthetic, play video games, perform a collaborative work and create arts, all through brain signal acquisition, signal processing and interpretation. It consists of several sequential steps which can be divided into 4 categories. Number 1, brain activity pattern generation, signal acquisition, feature extraction and classification. First, brain activity can be represented by electrical activity which is created by and blood oxygenation, and it differs in spatial and temporal characteristics depending on stimulus type, simultaneous intensity, mental effort and mental status. Second, brain activity can be measured through various brain imaging techniques in signal acquisition phase. The appropriate technology should be chosen according to the type of brain activity to be measured and the purpose of measurement, largely divided into invasive and non-invasive methods. Third, in the feature extraction step, only the important and interesting brain activities are extracted from the measured brain signals. Finally, the extracted brain features are analyzed through various algorithms to classify the user's current intention and status. In addition, BCI systems can be categorized as either active, reactive or passive depending on the user's attention and efforts. While active or reactive brain computer interface systems use brain activity that occurs with external stimuli, that is reactive BCI, or modulate efforts, that is active BCI, to directly control the application. Passive BCI systems use spontaneously generated brain activity such as users cognitive state to utilize an additional signal to support and compensate ongoing human computer interaction. Brain computer interface uses devices that enable their users to interact with computers and machines by using only their brain activity, which is measured and processed by the system. Many BCI applications currently exist allowing users to perform such tasks as writing sentences by selecting letters, moving a cursor on a computer screen, playing an electronic ping pong game or controlling an orthosis that provides a graspable hand. BCIs are also used to study the human brain in relation to performance at work, transportation and other everyday settings, which can provide important guidelines and constraints for theories of information presentation and task design. These research approaches also aim at applications that are not necessarily in the clinical field or for impaired users. It is making BCI use possible for new potential user groups such as gamers and for applications in the domestic domain, human computer interaction, robotics and team performance. Now, let us see how does it work in simple words. These are those systems that translate a measure of a user's brain activity into messages or commands for an interactive application. A typical example of a BCI is a system that enables a user to move a ball on a computer screen towards the left or toward the right by the meaningful left or right hand movement respectively. The very term BCI was coined in 1970s, and since then interest and research efforts in BCI have grown tremendously, with possibly hundreds of laboratories around the world studying this topic. This has resulted in a very large number of paradigms, methods, concepts, applications of such technology. How it all started? In the 1920s, a German scientist named Hans Berger was the first to show that the human brain was producing electrical currents. Such currents reflected brain activity and could be measured on the scalp using electrodes. The concept of electroencephalography (EEG) was born. EEG proved a key tool in neuroscience, notably to study cognitive functions and their neural correlates for understanding or diagnosing neuropathologies. With the development of EEG, the idea that brain activity could be used as a communication channel or carrier of information also rapidly emerged. Kamiya in 1968 shows that features of EEG activity in his studies considered alpha waves could purposely be controlled by a human subject after some training. This was the beginning of neurofeedback, a field interested in training users to self-regulate their brain activity thanks to real-time feedback about this activity. This led artists to consider using EEG in their performances. For instance, in the early 1970s, artist Nina Sobel provided participants with a visualization of their synchronized brain activity to encourage them to get synchronized EEG features. Then, after a few years in 73, a seminal paper by Jacques Vidal, a Belgian researcher working at the University of California in Los Angeles, coined the term brain-computer interface. In particular, Vidal described BCI as utilizing the brain signals in a man-computer dialogue and as a mean of control over external processes such as computers or prosthetic devices. Only the concepts were proposed at the time, the implementations were ongoing, but the vision and several ideas proposed at that time are still explored and followed today. While the field stayed kind of dormant in 70s and early 80s, the end of 1980s and the beginning of 1990s saw a handful of researchers from United States and Europe pioneering BCI field by proposing the first real-time and working BCI implementations, which defined several of the major paradigms used today. The beginning in 1988, Farwell and Donchin published another seminal paper which proposed the now very famous and widely used BCI paradigm known as P300 speller. More specifically, they proposed a BCI for spelling letters based on event related potential ERP, which are EEG deflections in response to a specific event or stimulus. In the P300 speller, a 6 by 6 grid of letters and digits is displayed on a computer screen. The rows and columns of the grid are randomly flashing and the user is asked to count the number of times the letter he wants to spell is flashed. This way, each time the target letter is flashed, this triggers an ERP known as P300 in the user's EEG signals, which can be detected. After several flash repetitions, it thus becomes possible to detect which row and which column contains the letter the user wants to spell and thus to select this letter. Although this system was tested on healthy users only at that time, this shows that BCI could potentially be used to enable severely paralyzed users to communicate and interact with their environment. In fact, the main driving force behind BCI research at that time, and still a major motivation today, was to use them as a new assistive technology for motor impaired users and notably for those that may not have access to any alternative one. Not long after, both in the United States and in Europe, researchers developed BCI based on sensory motor rhythms SMR, that is based on the oscillatory EEG activity and notably the mu rhythm, which is in the range of 7 to 13 hertz over the sensory motor part of the cortex, a part of the brain. What are the application areas of brain computer interface? The experiments related to brain computer interfaces began in 1960s and has produced substantial excitement and engagement by scientists, funding agencies and public for more than 20 years. Despite these efforts, clinically and commercially successful examples of BCI technology are rare. This issue has been recognized for several years and has usually been attributed to specific technical difficulties such as low information transfer rates that need to be addressed. Now, how does it define? Wolpa, who was the pioneer in this field, defined it as the brain-computer interface is a method of communication based on neural activity generated by the brain and is independent of its normal output pathways of peripheral nerves and muscles. The goal of BCI is not to determine a person's intent by eavesdropping on brain activity, but rather to provide a new channel of output for the brain that requires voluntarily adaptive control by the user. Further, it is identified 4 different applications areas of BCI. First is bioengineering applications, devices with assisting purposes for disabled people. Second is human subject monitoring. Here the research and detection of sleep disorders, neurological diseases, attention monitoring and or overall mental state is covered. The third is neuroscience research, that is in real time method for correlating observable behavior with recorded neural signals. And the last fourth is human machine interaction, interface devices between humans, computers or machines. What we can note is that there is a focus shift from patients to gamers and that this focus could benefit patients also. This is further illustrated here by using NASA and Sony as an example. NASA has been using neurofeedback to train their pilots to be more alert and attentive during a flight. It is a NASA patent dated 1994. Together with Sony, they used this technology to develop a specialized PlayStation controller that would react to brain patterns. Correct brain patterns were rewarded with a more responsive controller and vice versa. A study was conducted where a group of children with ADHD, that is attention deficit and hyperactive disorder, was treated using neurofeedback. One half of the group trained using traditional neurofeedback and the other half used the PlayStation video game. Both groups improved about equally, but the group playing the video game enjoyed their training more and their parents generally reported to notice more improvement than the parents from the other group. Treatment can be made more appealing, fun and still give the wanted results. So, that is the power of BCI systems. Let us see now what are the potential areas of BCIs, and these lie in neurofeedback. The NASA and the Sony feedback systems differ from the traditional neurofeedback in that the feedback and reward are not explicit on the display, but implicit in how the subject is able to control a task using brain waves. Let us see some of the examples. One is the Yetmer, that is perform more. In 2010, the first brainwave optimization company was established in Norway, and it is an organization that is offering neurofeedback training to customers so that they can achieve high performance, low stress levels, better sleep patterns and increased well-being. It is expensive and thus it is mostly targeted large firms and enterprises. The second is Emotiv. Their motto is you think, therefore you can. Emotiv claims that you can use thoughts, feelings and emotions to control your computer. The accompanying software comes with a machine learning algorithm that learns how your brain visualizes, for example, push and pull of objects from the EEG measurements. This can be mapped to computer controls. Their neuro headset consists of 14 sensors and includes a gyroscope. The gyroscope, your mobile phones, handsets, they also use that component. Another is Place Attention. A company named Unique Logic and Technology ULNT develops neurofeedback technology that targets children and people with ADHD, that is attention deficit and hyperactive disease, and general attention problems. They focus on in-homing and computer special arrangements. Even though the training is done home, they have specialists and professionals available that ensures that system and training is correctly set up and executed by the user. The EEG equipment is like a helmet, looks like a bicycle helmet, that is based on the NASA patent with sensor in it. Their system is not just for home use, it is used in over many schools in United States, hospitals, and the psychologists' offices also. Another example is Smart Brain. The Smart Brain technologies in cooperation with NASA have made neurofeedback available for use with PlayStation and Xbox. This makes it possible to apply it to thousands of different games. Though the controlling feature is always the same, their system includes a special made controller and doesn't require a computer to operate. Spelling with Brain is another example. The user here wears a cap with several electrodes and presented with a matrix containing all the letters of the alphabet. The rows and the columns are then flashed quickly and randomly, and whenever the system flashes a row and a column, it registers your reaction according to P300. This is enough to pin down the letter that you want to spell when focusing on it. The system does this at a fairly high speed, and to quote in 10dx, this requires some training, but most subjects can use in 10dxr only after 10 minutes with a reasonable performance. A spelling rate of 5 to 10 characters per minute is achieved by majority of the healthy users at their first trial. Still, it is strainful for the users of evoked potential BCIs because they are continuously receiving stimuli. However, it really opens up a way for patients to communicate or issue commands on the computer. Another example is Mind Speech. Experiment was done by Callis and the team with severely epileptic patients that were going to have the seizure-stricken parts of their brain removed. This operation required that the part of the skull is opened and then microelectrodes are installed on the surface to help narrow down the area that needs to be removed. The researchers exploit this by putting microelectrodes directly on the face motor cortex and Wernicke's area that are crucial for speech. Scientists matched the right word from a string of 10 words to the corresponding EEG signal between 28% and 48% of the time, which is better than chance. This could be in future make it possible for disabled people to communicate using a speech synthesizer to read the matched words out aloud. Another example is Mind Cursor. This uses the principle of mu, the amplitude or power levels for vertical movement, and the difference between the power levels for horizontal movement. This allows the user to select from 4 icons, one at each corner of the screen. Using mu for movement is common because it maps well to intentional movements. Another application area is in the gaming. The 2 games example below is very common properties to apply in BCI games. As with most games available today, they rely on attention and concentration values. It seems it is the most reliable or easiest property to calculate, especially when readings from the forehead is used. Let us see adventures of NeuroBoy. NeuroSky have their own demo game that comes with the mindset. You are a character that can move in a world out, levitate, push, pull and burn things with your mind. Attention and meditation values calculated in the mindset decides how this happens. Increased meditation value will lift objects and increased attention will, for instance, burn things. Another game is Mind Ball. You wear a headband that reads brain waves like the NeuroSky mindset from the forehead. Theta and alpha drowsiness or relaxation band powers are used to control the speed of a ball. It is used to move a ball from point A to point B in competition with an opponent. The one who is more concentrated pushes the ball towards the other and wins. An example of a game that only uses the NeuroSky attention value is the Mind Blaster game. Using a Nintendo Wiimote, targets on the screen are locked in, and when maximum attention value is reached, the target explodes. Other projects involve driving a remote controlled toy vehicle. These examples make it less interesting to apply the attention value from the mindset directly. Another thing that these games have in common is that it reflects the brain waves in almost real time. So, it is like neurofeedback. If you do not concentrate, the car will not move. So, it may require a lot of training to be able to drive smoothly or to levitate an object and so forth. This can be demotivating because one never gets to play part, but is stuck struggling with brainwave control. One could easily get bored or just giving up. Thus, it is a good reason for lowering the need for training and make games more easy to play. After having understood now the application areas of BCI and how the gaming industry and others fields they are using BCI, let us have a look at the market trends and how the application areas of BCI are assisting us. If you look at this graph on the screen now, you can see that over a period of time the growth is has been increasing continuously, and it is assumed that the reason for increasing use is of the sensor technology, and this is going to be about say by next year around 2 billion the growth it would be so much. So, you can see now that how fast this industry is increasing into it, and there are various factors for this market growth. The one is the means it is a sad thing, but it is true that the brain disorder patients they are increasing. However, on the other hand, there are advancements in neuroimaging technologies which is increasing, and then increase in the number of sensor applications in medical fields, and even there are new application areas of BCI in education and defense which is happening around us. There are certain market challenges which are impending the growth to that extent it should have been, and the two dominant reasons are the cost structures, quite expensive because the electrodes and the other kind of technology, the hardware part, the software part, it's expensive. And secondly, we are yet to get complete hold on the transfer rate of BCI. So, it's poor information, we need more research into that, but it has a lot of market opportunities on this. As you can see that there is a huge potential for the cure for paralyzed brain disorder patients on it, and you can see from here that it provides better smart home control systems for that, and calibrating the movement in physically challenging conditions individuals. Sometimes the patients they feel that how you can manage the movement of the persons. And secondly, there is a very growing use, as we explained just previously, an increased use of BCI in gaming sector. So, that is why there are so many of the applications they are coming up for that. If you see the worldwide growth, then you can see that the market is expanding very much, and the about in the North America or in the European or the Asia Pacific, it has many applications coming up into it. The market is also growing in terms of hardware and software components, and including the coming up of Open BCI, which is open source, open hardware, and this is the kind of headset and the software industry like Open Vibe. It is open source software for brain computer interfaces, which the companies and the individuals employ for software development into that. If we see it by the type of market involved into it and the type of kind of technology into it, as we saw in the previous lectures. There are three broad types available to us. One are the invasive, and this invasive technology is of two types. Either it is inside the brain, partial or complete. The electrodes are put inside the gray matter of the brain, or in partially invasive technology, it is inside the skull, but outside the gray matter. So, that is the invasive type of attention. And the second is non invasive, as you can see that it is on the skull with the help of say some kind of a skull cap, and the electrodes are attached to there, and they catch the brain waves, the signals from there, that is there. The other kind of area which is emerging up is the sector wise application of it. You can see that the application areas are in the medical field, smart home control, how with the help of that we can manage our equipments, and you must have seen it in the entertainment industry, the gaming, the virtual reality applications, and the communications and control. With the help of these applications, how we can make people to communicate and take more control of their skills into that. In terms of technology, the various areas where it has emerged in a very deeply and strong way are these medical things like electroencephalography, the EEG, the magnetoencephalography, the MEG, electrocorticography, ECOG, and you can see all these kind of the brain waves, the signals, and the application areas, the near infrared spectroscopy, intracortico neuro recording, etc. These are the sectors which are making a good use of BCI challenges into it. If we look into from the point of end user, the application areas are in the field of education, where even you can see that the there have been experiments when the music was composed using this type of application, and in the healthcare sector, in the defense, the applications, they are immense, they are huge. So, overall we can see that it has lot of applications in our daily life, various sectors, be it defense, be it education, be it health sector, the applications are immense. So, we hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and in this session we understood what are various application areas of BCI, how the games they have been developed, which help for the cognitive power of a learner, and various market areas where the applications of BCI are promoting the industry to take advantage of these BCI things. So, thank you so much for your attention, and do let us know your feedback on what you would like to learn more about this technology. Thank you so much.